What would you do if the very ground beneath your feet whispered warnings of danger, yet you chose to remain? As I stood on the cracked pavement of Jefferson Avenue in Old Town Alexandria, my heart raced not from fear, but from defiance. I had received a message to evacuate, an ominous alert that clawed at the back of my mind. But I ignored it. I'd always been drawn to the mysteries that lay hidden in plain sight, and this was no exception. I was Amelia Carter, a historian by trade and an adventurer at heart, with a penchant for unearthing the forgotten tales of cities left behind. Alexandria, with its cobblestone streets and echoes of the past, felt alive to me. With each step I took, I could almost hear the whispers of the long gone, their stories waiting to be unraveled. But today, the air was thick with something more than nostalgia. It was laced with tension, as if the city itself was holding its breath. The warning had come through a cryptic text, a message from a friend who had long since delved into conspiracy theories and urban legends. "Something's coming," it said. "Get out before it's too late." But what could possibly drive me from a place I loved? I had spent years digging into the city's past, uncovering secrets that others had forgotten. The thrill of discovery coursed through my veins, and I wasn't about to let a vague warning dictate my actions. As I wandered deeper into the heart of Old Town, the once familiar streets felt different, charged with an unexplained energy. The sky above had morphed into a canvas of swirling gray, casting eerie shadows that danced along the brick facades. I paused outside a quaint cafe on King Street, its windows fogged with the warmth inside, and for a moment, I considered retreat. But the thought was fleeting. I had my own ghost to confront. Years ago, I had lost my younger brother, Ethan, in a tragic accident. The weight of that loss had shaped my life, pushing me into the depths of history as a way to escape the present. Now, I felt a strange pull, an urge to confront whatever darkness loomed over this city, a darkness that felt personal, as if it were beckoning me to uncover its secrets. The first sign of conflict came when I noticed a flicker of lights from the old Masonic Lodge, its grand facade now shadowed in the twilight. I had always been drawn to that building, a relic of the city's past, but tonight it seemed to pulse with an unseen rhythm, as if it were alive. I took a step closer, the air growing colder around me. The door creaked open slightly, an invitation I was both hesitant and eager to accept. As I crossed the threshold, the atmosphere shifted. The musty scent of aged wood mingled with something metallic, unsettling my stomach. I stepped into the dimly lit hall, the flickering lights casting erratic shadows that danced across the walls. In that moment, I felt the weight of history pressing down on me, and with it, an inexplicable sense of urgency. What lay ahead was unknown, but I could feel it. The past and present colliding in a way that promised to change everything. And as I ventured further into the lodge, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was on the cusp of uncovering something monumental. But when night fell, something inexplicable happened. As I stepped further into the Masonic Lodge, the shadows closed in around me. The flickering lights strained against the encroaching darkness, casting an unsettling glow on the portraits that lined the walls. Men in top hats and tails, their eyes seemingly following me, judging my every move. I could feel the weight of their gazes, and it sent a shiver down my spine. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall, breaking the silence like a gunshot. My heart leaped into my throat. I hesitated, torn between the instinct to flee and the insatiable curiosity that had driven me here. I took a deep breath, steeling myself, and moved toward the noise. As I approached, I noticed a flicker of movement in the darkness. My pulse quickened. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. "Is anyone there?" A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall man with disheveled hair and an anxious look in his eyes. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice low and urgent. "It's not safe. You need to leave. I squinted, trying to make out his features in the dim light. Who are you? I asked, my defiance flaring again. What's going on? My name is Lucas. I'm investigating something, he replied, glancing nervously over his shoulder as if expecting someone or something to appear. And if you've received warnings, you should take them seriously. Investigating what? I pressed. My curiosity piqued. What's happening in this city? Lucas stepped closer, lowering his voice. There's a disturbance, a convergence of energies that shouldn't be happening. It's tied to the old legends of this place, secrets kept hidden for too long. I can't explain everything now, but if you stay, you'll be caught in it. Before I could respond, a low rumble echoed through the lodge, shaking the very foundation beneath my feet. Dust fell from the ceiling, and I instinctively reached for the nearest wall to steady myself. Lucas's eyes widened, and he grabbed my arm. We need to get to the basement, now! Without waiting for my reply, he turned and rushed down a narrow staircase at the back of the hall. My heart raced as I followed him, the pull of the unknown urging me on. What lay in the darkness below? And why was I so drawn to it? The basement was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and aged wood. As we descended, I could hear the distant echo of voices, muffled and indistinct, as if coming from another world. This way, Lucas instructed, leading me to a heavy door at the end of the corridor. He pushed it open, revealing a small chamber filled with strange artifacts and dusty tomes. Are you some kind of historian too? I asked, scanning the room. The walls were lined with cryptic symbols that seemed to pulse with energy, and a chill ran down my spine as I recognized some of them from my own research. I'm a researcher, Lucas said, his focus shifting to an ancient book lying open on a pedestal. But this isn't just history. It's alive, and it's angry. He glanced at me, his expression grave. You have to understand, Amelia. This city has a heartbeat, and we've disturbed it. I felt a rush of frustration. You're talking in riddles. What do you mean? What have we disturbed? Just then, a deafening crash reverberated through the lodge, the walls shaking violently. In the flickering light, I saw the shadows in the room shift, morphing into shapes that seemed almost human. Panic surged within me, but I forced myself to hold Lucas's gaze. What's happening? I don't know, he admitted, fear flashing in his eyes. But we're about to find out. The door slammed shut behind us, trapping us in the chamber. I could feel my heart pounding against my ribcage, adrenaline coursing through my veins. The darkness thickened, and I realized we had crossed a line, one that could never be uncrossed. What lay ahead was a mystery entwined with my own past, and I was determined to unravel it, no matter the cost. As the shadows closed in, I knew one thing for certain. There would be no turning back now. The shadows thickened around us, and I tried to focus on Lucas's face, but my mind was racing. The air grew heavy, almost electric, as the room pulsed with an ominous energy. I could feel it tugging at my consciousness, whispering secrets I had long buried. I struggled to remain grounded, but a wave of dizziness washed over me. Amelia, Lucas's voice cut through the fog. Stay with me. I blinked, shaking my head to clear the haze. What's happening? Why are we trapped? I think it's connected to the artifacts, he replied, his voice strained. They're resonating with something. Maybe a force tied to the lodge's history, something we've inadvertently awakened. He paused, his brow furrowing. Or perhaps it's something you've awakened. I recoiled, his implication striking me like a slap. What do you mean? This isn't my fault. But deep down, a nagging doubt stirred within me. I had always been drawn to the arcane, fascinated by the stories my grandmother shared about our family's past. Tales of old magic and hidden truths. Had I unwittingly summoned whatever was haunting this place? The walls trembled again, and the shadows shifted, forming twisted shapes that seemed to leer at me. "Amelia," Lucas said, gripping my shoulders, "you need to remember. Think about your past, your family. There's a reason you're here." Before I could respond, a sudden flash of memory surged through me. My grandmother's warning, her trembling hands as she clutched an old locket, a symbol that matched the intricate carvings in the chamber. "No?" I gasped. "It can't be." "Yes," Lucas urged, his eyes wide with realization. "You're tied to this place. The legends. They speak of a guardian, a descendant who would either protect or destroy. That's you, Amelia." The implications of his words crashed over me like a tidal wave. My mind raced back to the night of the fire, the way my grandmother had screamed, warning me to run. I had thought it was just a nightmare, a figment of my childhood imagination. But now, it felt like a fracture in my reality. A crack echoed through the chamber, and suddenly a figure emerged from the darkness, an apparition clad in tattered robes, face obscured by shadow. "You must choose," it hissed, the voice echoing with 1,000 whispers, each word sending chills down my spine. "Awaken the truth or succumb to the darkness." "Lucas, what is that?" I stammered, stepping back, but he didn't move. He was fixed on the figure, his face a mixture of fear and intrigue. "I don't know," he murmured, "but it feels like it knows you." The apparition extended a skeletal hand toward me, and I felt an overwhelming compulsion to reach out. Memories flooded my mind. My grandmother's locket, the legends she wove into my childhood, the fire that had consumed our home. It was all connected, and in that moment, I realized my past was not just a history, it was a key. The figure's voice rang out again, clear and commanding. "The secrets of your bloodline are intertwined with this place. Embrace your destiny, or all will be lost." As the shadows pressed in, I understood that the choice I faced wasn't just about survival. I was standing at the precipice of a truth that could shatter everything I thought I knew. The stakes had never been higher. "Lucas, we need to find a way out of here," I shouted, but deep down, I knew there was no escape from the truth. It was time to confront not just the shadows in the lodge, but the ones buried deep within myself. The tension in the air shifted as I steeled my resolve, ready to face whatever lay ahead. My past was rising to meet me, and I felt the weight of destiny pressing down, urging me to take my place in this unfolding saga. There was no turning back now. The air crackled with energy as I faced the apparition, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm in my chest. The shadows writhed around me, swirling like a living entity, and I felt their cold fingers brushing against my skin, urging me to succumb, to fear. But I couldn't. Not now, not when the truth was within reach. "Amelia, don't," Lucas shouted, his voice a lifeline amid the chaos. "We don't know what it wants." I turned to him, desperation flooding my voice. "But it's calling to me, Lucas. I have to know what it means." The apparition's hand beckoned, and something deep within me stirred. A recognition, a connection I couldn't ignore. "Listen to me." Lucas's grip tightened on my arm. "We need to stick together. Whatever it is, it's manipulating you. We can find another way." A pang of doubt shot through me. He was right. I could feel the shadows testing my resolve, probing my mind. But the urgency of the moment gnawed at my insides. What if this was my only chance to understand my family's legacy? Before I could respond, the figure tilted its head, and suddenly, the darkness around us shifted. I saw flashes of my grandmother's life, her laughter, her tears. I glimpsed the locket she had worn, a shimmering beacon of hope amidst despair. The memories surged, and with them came the weight of expectation. I felt the gravity of my ancestors pressing down on me, their hopes and fears intertwining with my own. "Amelia," Lucas's voice broke through again, panic lacing his words. "It's trying to manipulate your memories. Don't let it take Control. But as I looked into the depths of the apparition's shadowed face, I saw not just a threat, but a reflection of my own fears. A manifestation of everything I had tried to bury. The fire, the loss, the secrets. They were all part of me. I realized then that the only way to confront the darkness was to embrace it. "Your legacy is not a curse," the figure hissed, its voice echoing in my mind. "You have the power to shape the fate of this place. Choose." The choice lay before me, stark and undeniable. I could retreat into the safety of ignorance, dragging Lucas along with me, or I could step forward, acknowledging my past and harnessing the power it held. I glanced at Lucas, his eyes wide with fear, but also with a flicker of belief. He trusted me to make the right choice. "I won't let fear dictate my life anymore," I declared, my voice steady and resolute. "I choose to confront the truth." As I reached out toward the apparition, the shadows around us twisted violently, and a surge of energy erupted from my fingertips. The air hummed with power, and I felt the weight of destiny shift beneath my feet. "Amelia, no!" Lucas shouted, but I was already lost in the moment, connecting with the essence of my lineage. Every whisper of the past coalesced into a single pulse of energy, bridging the gap between what was and what could be. In that decisive moment, the shadows recoiled, and the apparition's form began to shimmer and dissolve, revealing layers of truth beneath the veneer of darkness. I was ready to uncover the secrets that had bound my family for generations. But as the energy surged, a new presence emerged from the depths. A figure I didn't expect, and one that would change everything. "Amelia," it said, the voice, familiar yet laced with a chilling authority. "You've awakened more than just the past." I froze, realization dawning. I had opened a door, but what lay beyond it was far more dangerous than I had anticipated. I stood there, trembling, as the familiar voice washed over me. It was my mother, a figure from my past I thought I had lost forever. The shadows receded slightly, revealing not just her face, but the subtle lines of worry etched across it. Lines that mirrored my own. "Mom?" I whispered, my heart racing. The moment felt surreal, a collision of worlds that left me both elated and terrified. But as I reached out, the warmth of recognition was quickly overshadowed by the chilling aura that surrounded her. "You've opened a door that should have remained closed," she warned, her eyes glinting with a mix of pride and fear. "What you've awakened is not just your past. It's a legacy of pain, one that could consume you if you're not careful." The weight of her words settled heavily on my chest. Lucas stepped closer, his protective instincts flaring. "We need to get out of here," he urged. "Whatever this is, it's not safe." But I couldn't tear my gaze away from my mother. "What do you mean?" I demanded, desperation creeping into my voice. "What did I awaken?" She hesitated, glancing at the darkened corners of the room where shadows whispered and writhed. "There's a force that binds our family. It's powerful and ancient, but it's also unstable. You've tapped into something that could either safeguard our legacy or destroy it." As she spoke, I felt the remnants of the energy I had summoned coursing through my veins. An intoxicating power mingled with a sense of foreboding. The shadows flickered, and I could sense their restlessness, as though my confrontation had stirred something deep within their essence. "Amelia," Lucas's voice broke through my thoughts, urgency lacing his tone. "We have to leave now." I turned to him, my heart aching at the thought of abandoning this moment, this connection. But I knew he was right. The shadows were restless, and I could feel the tightening grip of their darkness around us. "Mom, please," I pleaded, fear clawing at my throat. "I need to know how to control this." Her expression softened for a moment, and she stepped closer, her hand reaching toward me. "You must learn to balance the light and the dark. But remember, the past does not define you. It's only a piece of the puzzle." As she spoke, I felt a surge of energy, a connection that pulled at my very core. But in that moment of clarity, I also sensed something lurking just beyond the veil of shadows, a presence that felt both familiar and ominous. "I'm not ready to say goodbye," I whispered, my heart aching as the shadows coalesced around my mother, pulling her back into the depths. "Find me," she urged, her voice becoming faint. "And remember, you are stronger than you think." With that, the shadows enveloped her, and I was left standing in the dim light, the air thick with unanswered questions. The room fell silent, the chaos subsiding as the apparition faded entirely, leaving only a lingering echo of its presence. Lucas grabbed my shoulders, steadying me as I regained my composure. "Are you okay?" he asked, concern etched across his face. I think so," I stammered, though I felt the emotional scars already forming. The encounter had shaken me to my core. I could still feel the echoes of my mother's words resonating in my mind, but as we turned to leave, the shadows, now still, seemed to whisper secrets just beyond my grasp. I knew this wasn't over. My family's legacy was still entangled with dark forces, and the promise of new mysteries lingered in the air. "Amelia," Lucas said softly, breaking through my thoughts, "we need to figure out what this all means. For you. For us." He nodded, determination igniting within me. "And we will. But first, we have to uncover what else lies in the shadows." Together, we stepped back into the world, the weight of the unknown pressing down, but the promise of discovery igniting, a fire within me. The confrontation had revealed more than it had taken, and I was ready to delve deeper into the mysteries that awaited. I took a deep breath, the weight of my mother's warning still heavy in the air. We stepped out into the cool night, but the shadows within me stirred, restless and alive. Lucas moved beside me, but I could feel a shift in the atmosphere, a pull that was both alluring and terrifying. "Amelia, are you sure you're all right?" he asked, glancing back at the house, its dark windows now eerily silent. I nodded, but deep down, I felt different, changed. The energy that had surged through me during the encounter with my mother lingered, intertwining with my very essence. I could hear the whispers of the shadows now, clearer than ever, as if they had woven themselves into the fabric of my being. "Listen," I said, my voice steadying as I embraced the shift. I think I'm meant to become part of this. The legacy, the power, it's calling to me." Lucas frowned, worry etched on his face. "What do you mean? This isn't just some game, Amelia. It's dangerous." "Maybe it's dangerous because we're too afraid to confront it," I replied, my heart racing with a mixture of fear and excitement. I could feel the shadows beckoning, their embrace warm and inviting. I need to understand it, to control it. I can't run forever. In that moment, something within me cracked open, like a door swinging wide to the unknown. I could feel the shadows shifting around me, welcoming me into their depths. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the pull, embracing the darkness that danced just beneath my skin. As I merged with the shadows, I felt a rush of power surge through me, an exhilarating force that connected me to my lineage, to the pain and strength that had shaped my family. I opened my eyes, and everything had changed. I was no longer just Amelia. I was a bridge between worlds, a guardian of the legacy I had awakened. "Amelia?" Lucas's voice broke through, filled with a mixture of awe and fear. But I was beyond his reach now, entwined with the shadows, ready to explore the depths of my newfound existence. "Find me," I echoed my mother's words, a promise to myself, a vow to uncover the mysteries that lay ahead. The shadows swirled around me, and together we would unravel the threads of fate, intertwining our destinies in a dance of light and dark. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure. And leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.